we got to take a look at a lot of Plaid Hat games, including some of the really big ones.
Yes.
And we're going to start off with probably the biggest one, the one that's sold out first day before I think even really the show floor opened generally.
Probably the biggest game of the entire show, I think. In terms of really the big, deep gamer games that have been anticipated for a long time, Seafall. I don't know if we said the name or not yet. It's Seafall. If you don't know, it's the newest Legacy game from Rob Daviau, who also did Risk Legacy and Pandemic Legacy.
However, this is the first one not based on an existing property.
Right. So to us, that's pretty exciting, especially because, we're not the biggest fans of Risk. We do love Pandemic, but it's awesome to have a whole fresh set of rules.
We should say, as of this recording, we actually have played Risk Legacy so far. Not completed.
We haven't tried
which we have actually enjoyed. Mm-hmm. We just got Pandemic Legacy, so we'll see how this goes.
But we did play an actual, a few rounds of Seafall today.
You really think we played through an entire game of
We played
Seafall?
A whole campaign right on the show floor. People were real mad. So we kind of got a feel for it. It is pretty cool. We didn't get to really, see the legacy stuff that much.
Well, we did see a little bit of things, and I think I would like to start off here. We got to actually keep these little play mats. They actually, because they for the cards they also had blanks, but this is the one thing they just photocopied a whole bunch.
Right.
And you actually named your province you were from, so Vim, named after the country of Vim from our Risk Legacy game.
Inside jokes.
Yes.
Sorry, folks.
And as well as two other naming ships. I just put the names of the other because I didn't want to be creative. But the other cards, you have a captain card, which you actually name, and crewmen, and the first person to buy that crewman gets to name them.
Right.
Which they actually had in sleeve, so technically you could name them there, and then you could wipe them clean, but,
And lots of other stuff like that. If you've played the Legacy games, you know what kind of thing to expect, but where it differs is the mechanics themselves of how you play from turn to turn. Everybody has a boat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
2 boats.
I want to say, to start off with, because the designer was actually there. So he actually talked to us a lot.
He was helping out.
And I love one of the description he used for this is, this game was allowing players to go through his sea-based D&D campaign without him being there.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. You start off with 2 ships. Excuse me.
You're excused.
Can gain or lose as the game progresses. And pretty much you're going around either exploring, raiding, or trying to build trading and stuff with resources.
Mm-hmm. You could build buildings. Yeah, you could trade with each other. You can tax islands. You have coins as resources, or I don't know what they actually call the currency. It's money of some kind. And then there's also
it's gold. I believe
it's gold.
They call it that.
There's also different resource cubes for wood, linen, spices, and something else. So a lot of different materials, resource management. Plus there is player interaction. You can raid each other's ships. It starts out during a truce, so we didn't go into any of the PvP stuff. That's a whole other avenue.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Yeah, but it is a competitive game, unlike Pandemic Legacy. So at the end of each game, whoever wins gets to name something or whatever it is.
Actually, the interesting thing is naming and stuff. Unlike Risk Legacy, which is the other competitive, a lot of there's some sticker placement, but most of the legacy stuff happens at the end of each round. This really has it going throughout the entire game. Once I scored 3 points, because I was the first with 3 points, I named an island.
Right.
And more things happen as you go along. Another thing, and this is the thing that I really love, is there is a story in this. And without spoiling too much, we heard a little bit.
We really couldn't spoil anything for you.
We did hear some things and phrases, but we're not going to say them. But because when you explore an island, you roll dice to see how successful you are, and as long as you don't blow up your ship, which one person actually did in our game, you are successful. You just take damage for the difference between what you needed or not. And then you actually have a map, and depending on what you guided, there'll be a sun symbol, a fire symbol, an anchor symbol. You took out this big map, and this reminds me more of
Tales of the Arabian Nights.
And you'll be like, all right, which sun symbol do you want? And
it leads to a portion in a big book with a bit different paragraphs, and then you get a choice. And the choice is purely, how you decide what to do is purely flavorful. It's not do you want to take 1 resource or 2 resources or something.
Or at least that's the ones we saw.
Right. You have to go based off more of a role-playing type of strategy, and then you find out what happens.
And we will say that some of the answers we received actually had hints, and they even said Like things like remember this name or what the tribals called this.
Right.
And,
It sounds like there is some stuff going on in this game that's pretty intriguing. So that aspect was great. Also, that kind of reminded me, is also from Plaid Hat, Mice and Mystics a little bit, the way the story kind of rolls out from game to game. But I thought it was, I love the theme. This is definitely one that I'm excited to try out as a legacy game. Risk Legacy as a concept is awesome, but I think as a lot of people, and one of the people we were playing with during the demo would agree, this theme and this original ground-up mechanic much more of an appealing fit in the Legacy brand.
Yes, and if you haven't noticed, it is not behind us because we did not get it the first time.
Yeah, gone.
However, they have it on their site for pre-order, which is important because I think up until the last day of Gen Con, maybe a couple days after, if you pre-order it, you still get the metal coins that people were able to get for free with the Gen Con purchase.
Right, so if you want those
and
really nice metal coins, check out Plaid Hat's
site. And to answer the question, yes, I have pre-ordered already because this is going to be fun to play.
So Seafall is, I think, deserving of all the hype that it's gotten. You probably don't need us to tell you that it'll be worth the purchase. When it comes out, I'm sure it'll be the top of the charts on the Board Game Geek. And we're excited to actually try our own campaign.
Yep.
For real. For real.
Besides having one of the biggest games of the convention, Plaid had a lot more there, including one of the things I was excited to pick up were the Ashes expansions. They're actually, I bought, these two have already been out for a while.
Mm-hmm.
See here, but the two by you are new, and I picked those up. I was really excited. And now this allows me to have more deck options as well as dice, which is going to be really nice. These are actually mono-based. If you remember the deck when we played it a few times, we haven't recorded, I think, but we've played it. That you choose two different, each champion, or Phoenix Born had two different dice. Well, these are actually designed to work with only one set type of dice.
Interesting.
So I'm really excited to want to try these guys out, mix them in with the other sets and see how they work out.
Is it possible to mix those cards? You can
all cards
can
be mixed.
Yeah.
The only exception, just like all of them, I think each one of the Phoenix Born, at least as I've seen, I don't think they've changed this, have like one set of either spell or, I think usually they've been creatures, so like these are theirs.
Right. Tokens or something like that.
Yeah.
Similar. Yeah. So yeah, that'll be. I wonder what the advantages and disadvantages will be of that. I guess people know if they play with the first two decks, but we'll be finding out.
Yeah, but I mean, well, it's gonna be interesting because I'm seeing Magic, how I've seen how a dual versus a single colored deck can do. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be see how or at least at the very least how they make cards in these sets really, sing to the single color set.
For sure. They had also another expansion for another very popular Plaid Hat game, which you can see behind us, Dead of Winter Long Night. So this is actually, it is an expansion, but it's also completely standalone. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have the base of Dead of Winter, everything you need to play Dead of Winter is in this game. In fact, a lot of the components are the same, really. The board is the same. Most of the the die is the same. It has a lot of new characters.
It's the same mechanics. It's not a completely different game.
Right. There are some new things, though. So the new things that are in this Dead of Winter, or a couple of them I'll give you. This introduces bandits, which are sort of like a mix between zombies and what do they call the people in your colony that are useless, like the helpless survivors?
They're annoying people.
Yeah, you can fight them, but they'll also be raiding your camp and getting into places you don't want them to be. And what I think is really interesting, if someone is exiled and they're not the betrayer, they become the leader of the bandits. So they can.
But the betrayer doesn't?
No, I don't, because I guess that would make the betrayer too powerful. They have their own stuff going on.
Right, then he wouldn't mind being all out and then just
he'd be like, this is fun. So that's an interesting twist.
It'd be really funny if they introduce a new trader mechanic and it has something to do with bandits, so if someone else gets exiled, it's like, hey, we're friends now.
Right, that would be good. They also, another thing that I really like is they have a new location called Raxon.
Yeah, and this I know about, and this is terrifying. If you can't guess by the name, it's sort of like a scientific laboratory.
I thought it's like a power plant kind of place. Maybe it's both. I don't know.
But because of this, there's actually been scientific experiments and horrific new zombies released upon the world.
And some of them are really weird. There's one that looks like Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, that's like that.
There's one that's just called
It looks like a giant brute. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Some very interesting, scary ones.
Of course, this also means resources from there and new companions, such as a monkey.
Right, a monkey, which is, I mean, if you had a dog, why not have a monkey? So, and what I think is really cool, also, they have a specific set of scenarios that are designed to walk you through the new stuff. So if you already have Dead of Winter, you can play through it and it'll dole that stuff out piece by piece so you're not overwhelmed by all the new things.
Right, and another really cool thing that they realized after making this is that now that you have two boards, because it is standalone.
Right?
What if the two camps were fighting each other?
What if? So yeah, we actually, for the first time, I'm pretty sure at this show, they unveiled their plans for another expansion, Colony Wars, I think it was called.
Yes, I believe so.
And yeah, as you said, it's a two-player.
In essence, if you have both
teams.
The bases, so to speak, you can actually have them sort of. Instead of having a traitor in it, you have two different colonies, and they're fighting each other for resources while the zombies are going around. Really cool, clever idea.
And unlike this expansion, it's a much smaller box. Although they didn't have, very early, they didn't have the final box on display or anything.
I mean, it is designed. You expect it to be smaller because it needs two other big boxes.
Right.
Yeah. Really cool to see. Maybe definitely something. I mean, we loved the first one. We're gonna love this, I bet. And then with that, it's just gonna bring a whole new thing. And maybe someday, we'll get it all nicely wrapped together.
The Dead of Winter wrapped together.
The Dead of Winter Holiday Collection.
That sounds much nicer than it has any right to be. And the last thing we want to talk about from Plaid Hat, coming off of Dead of Winter, if you don't know, they have this great app, which I believe isn't yet updated for the new set, but I'm sure will be soon.
I talked to them about it. The app guy's working on it. He said, and it was very funny because he was like, "There's some lazy jerk not working." Speaking of himself, but they have the voice files and stuff there, so it will be updated with this. Though,
looking forward to that.
It didn't sound like it'll be updated with the special promo.
Oh yeah,
pack
I forgot to mention that. Well, no, I know. This is not a promo pack.
Oh, it's not.
I think this came in the box. I'm pretty sure every copy has this.
The guy made it sound like there was a promo pack.
I could be wrong, but it wasn't given separately at least.
Okay.
So maybe it was only a Gen Con thing. But yeah, these if you have a serious warning on them, apparently they're adult and disturbing.
Yeah, that's the promo he's talking about. Because the guy was like, "I wish I had those raunchy ones in there." So
I don't.
That's the thing.
Yet.
I don't know if they're in the app or not.
Maybe maybe sell them separately. But I'm pretty curious about exactly how disturbing they are. But that's just a little tease.
But the other big app, and this one, really excited. I think you may have seen it, but you didn't really get to talk to the person about it.
Right.
Is for another one of the games we love from them.
Specular Ops.
Yes. In this game, if you don't know, which we have played, I don't know if we've done it on camera again.
We have not.
It's one person plays as an agent, and just like Letters of Whitechapel, tries to hide their movement to reach certain objectives, while, depending on the number of players, there are hunters trying to hunt them down, and you're trying to avoid them.
Hidden movement, stealth-based game.
Cat and mouse
Where
game.
Normally, in the base game, you're writing on a piece of paper, if you're the secret agent, what you're doing and where you are at all times. Which is cool, but wouldn't it be nice if it were all digital?
Well, more importantly, what if you make a mistake?
That too.
Yeah. So if you haven't guessed where this conversation's leading, are making an app. And this is really cool because the way this app works, he had it on a tablet. I'm sure I didn't ask if it worked on a phone or not.
I'm sure it does.
The way it works is it's for the agent, and he can actually, he or she can put their movements in, and it's to go around. And not only that, it randomizes where the objectives are, so you don't have to roll dice anymore. You can tell where the hunters are and place them. It'll show where they can see, so you can be like, do I actually put a movement thing?
You don't have to spend a lot of time calculating line of sight, which is nice.
What's really cool is the developer actually went through and went on forums and stuff and tried to find all those really weird, odd circumstances. For example, remember when you threw a flashbang grenade when the guy was scoping in?
Right.
So it'll tell you that kind of. So
and I got really mad about whether or not it should be seen.
And the difference is the app will actually show where, it won't show where it's seeing, so you'll know to drop it in front next time.
Taking away a lot of the guesswork.
Yeah. Another thing is that, I know I had issues with the car scanning thing, especially because I love the Puppeteer, and that will tell you southwest, or in the case this was one of the really fringe cases. If you're on the car and they can't see you and they do the scanning, you say, "I'm on the car."
Right. That kind of thing. So, I mean, I'm really excited. I think the game will definitely benefit a lot from this. As what we were saying, any game with hidden movement, would be great.
Yeah, I remember when I first brought this to you, you're like, this is amazing. Why doesn't Whitechapel have this?
Yeah, I would really love that. So Plaid Hat really killing it. That Dead of Winter was the biggest game when it came out of Gen Con, and I think Seafall is that this year.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, the Dead of Winter expansion, they had tons of copies, because I guess now they know the demand, so they came prepared.
I definitely feel that with their previous grouping with Z-Man Games has helped them a lot, too. It seems that their production has definitely gone up.
Right, because sometimes that it can be... We all know it was rough to find Dead of Winter for a while.
Well, a lot of their games, honestly.
Yeah, so all of those sound awesome. We actually saw them and bought some of them, and we know they're awesome.
We got plenty more Gen Con news coming, so you better stay up to date at Roll4Crit at Twitter, as well as Facebook, Instagram, and just subscribing right here.
And, of course, you can find us on our very own website, roll4crit.com/GenCon2016 for all our videos, photos, and more. Stay tuned.